Good evening. My name is Todd Hilton.
And I'm Kevin Thornton.
And welcome to the first edition of Nowhere Video's Visions from Beyond. In this program, we'll take you out on ghost hunting investigations. We'll show you the tricks of the trade and the things that we've learned since we recently started this.
Which, I might add, has been a lot.
Quite a bit.
We've learned more than we ever expected to. Okay, so I'd like to take a minute to tell you how we got started in Visions from Beyond. It was a year ago, almost a year ago, during Halloween. Todd Hilton and I and Mark Johnson and several other co-hosts of another show we did called Road Trips. We all got together and we decided we were going to do a Halloween edition of Road Trips. And during this, we visited a cemetery. We actually went on a road trip, then we visited a cemetery called the Masonic Cemetery. We had a good time up there, and then we went down to a house, a haunted house in St. Helens. And we got to talking to the lady in there, and she introduced us to a man by the name of Robert Chamberlain. And he showed us some video, or some pictures that he had that he's been taking of ghosts. And to tell you the truth, I was really skeptic about what I was seeing. And he invited Todd and I to come out on an investigation with him. And so we went to Kinder Cemetery, which is in Deer Island, Oregon. And I went out and I bought me a 35mm camera and got me some film, and we went out there and we got some good pictures, and I got, you know, I really didn't get any pictures, but Bob did, and it just got me really interested in what was going on. And so here we are today. Todd and I came up with the idea to start this video, and it's been a year-long experience. And
trying to collect photographs and video that we can actually make a production out of, right, and make it into a show.
And not to mention all of our blunders, goofs, and screw-ups that we've had.
They've been quite numerous.
And we're still in the stage of trying to make sure that we get everything right. We're trying to figure out a way that we can use the video camera and the camera simultaneously, so anything that we can catch on film
theoretically
with our cameras, then we should be able to pick up with the video camera as well. And needless to say, our budget is very limited, and we don't have the kind of equipment that we would like to have, such as a night vision camera.
Yes, we're working on that.
Right. We're searching the web for a night vision adapter for our camera, so we can use that. But that's basically how we got started. And I think it was my idea to do a show, wasn't it?
You had mentioned it during our. You could call it an investigation, but it was more or less just a special edition of Road Trips, where we just went through this young lady's house, and I think it was then that you thought, it was like, we might be able to make a show out of it. I mean, something else that specialized in just ghost hunting. Right.
And
so here we are a year later. We've had a year to capture video and photographs, both 35mm and digital images.
Mm-hmm. And Todd and I have both got some really good pictures. I've got some fantastic pictures that we'll show you later on in the show. I've actually got a vortex, and I've got some ectoplasm, a lot of orbs. But I have 6 or 7 really special pictures that we'll take a look at later.
Just fantastic material. Also in this program, we'll be giving you a look at the videos and photographs that we've taken over the last year. We also have Mr. Robert Chamberlain joining us in a segment, and he actually explains quite a bit, which is another reason we have been in the continuous learning process, learning how the investigations are conducted. And
one thing new that we're just trying out is EVPs.
Yes.
And what that is taking a tape recorder out to a cemetery, hooking it up, turning it on, and leaving it alone to see if we can actually catch voices of ghosts on on tape.
It has been done.
Yep, it has been done.
Just tonight, this will be our first attempt at doing so.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll get something out of it.
Yeah,
Very exciting to find out.
I've got my tape recorder set up. It is running at this time.
As we speak.
Yeah, it's in a different part of the cemetery that we're in right now. And
which, by the way, we are out at, I believe this is called Redmond Memorial Park, is that right?
Yeah, Redmond Memorial Park.
Here in Redmond, Oregon, where we are hosting our first program.
Mm-hmm. And we chose the background that we have. If you'll take a look, it says, in memory of those men and women who gave their lives for their country.
Yes.
And we did this because of what happened on 9/11 with the tragedies that took place.
Yes, we figured this would be a fitting background for our initial show.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope you folks enjoy the show. We've got a lot of stuff to share with you. Also, in the program, we've had a chance to go to many cemeteries. We have one special shoot where we had a chance to go down to a Ghost Hunters conference in Virginia City, Nevada.
Which Todd got to go to.
I got to go.
But I didn't because of budget constraints. And so,
but some fantastic photographs came from down there. And I think right about now, the first thing we should go to, maybe will give you folks a chance to meet Mr. Chamberlain and let him tell you what ghost hunting is all about.
I'm Robert Chamberlain from Northwest Paranormal Investigations. I kind of got started in this, the wife and I, here about almost 9 years ago. We had an incident in our house where we took care of her mother. Her mother had cancer throughout her body. So I made the decision, I talked to the wife about her mother living with us. She's not living by herself no more. So we brought her into the house, and we had all the help we could ask for plus, and it was 2 months later she passed away. 2 days after she had passed away, things started getting moving around the house. You could smell cigarette smoke at 3 o'clock in the morning. You could hear footsteps going through the hallway, shuffling across carpet. You could hear a woman's voice in the front room. In fact, one night we thought it was Heather came home with a bunch of her friends at midnight, and I had just gone to bed. And she woke up and she was mad, and I says, well, what's the matter? And she says, Heather's here, and she brought some of her girlfriends with her. Go out there and tell her that her girlfriend's going to have to leave and she's going to have to go to bed. And I says, well, dear, I just came to bed. Heather's not here. So we got involved in it this way, that's how we got started into it. And my wife's cousin owned a bookshop in Rainier, and she was telling us about a couple of people that lived here in St. Helens that were paranormal investigators. They wrote a few books on it and stuff, and they were doing a book signing, and they said, why don't you come up here and talk to them about the things that are going on in your house? So we went up and talked to them about it. 2 days later, they came down thinking that they were going to drive some big old 3-story old house that we had this house built a year before, 2 years before her mother passed away. Well, they were shocked to find out that kind of house we lived in. And they came up there, did an investigation on the place, and we did a tape recording up there, and he asked us questions over the tape recorder, asked us little things that went on around there. So he started out with Renee, my wife, first, then I, then my son, and then Heather. Well, when he went to play it back later the next day, everybody's voices was erased except for Heather. There was nobody else on it. So ever since then, we've been doing paranormal investigations, and our group's been getting bigger and bigger as we've been going along. Some of the places that I have visited and done investigations on, not only with my club members, but also with friends of mine that live in Oakland, California. I've been to Skycomish, Washington, which is an old logging town. The town of Wellington was buried under 2 avalanches. We did a little mini conference up there. We spent 2 nights up there. Very interesting. A lot of paranormal. We heard a lot of voices going on in what they call the snow tunnel. That's where they parked the trains at during the winter to let passengers off so they could get into town. Been to Oakland, California, and visited a few of the cemeteries around down there. Some of the famous homes down there, like the Pardee House. Went over to the Winchester Mansions and done the Winchester Mansion. We tried to get out to Alcatraz, but unfortunately all the boats were filled up. The Shanghai tunnels in Portland, we do quite a bit with the Shanghai tunnels in Portland. There's a lot of activity there. Fort Stevens Historical Site, we've done a little episode down there. We've also gone to, people think it's funny when I mention it, but the Chinook Winds during the Indian competitions down there, you get a lot of orbs because they're very strong with their ancestors. There's a lot of activity goes on at that time. But most of the places that we go most of the time is cemeteries. A good example is, if people know about it, it's called Coma, California. That town is dedicated nothing but to cemeteries. It's a very interesting town. There's not only human cemeteries there, but there's also pet cemeteries. People turn their yards into pet cemeteries. And we have actually done investigations at pet cemeteries and actually have picked up orbs and actually heard dogs barking and cats meowing. In fact, one cemetery that we visit down there, we actually heard a parakeet. And it was real interesting, but there's so many of them that we have visited, different places we've gone to do investigation, that I really can't name all of them. I use a digital camera, 35mm camera for taking photos with. We have another lady in our club that has night vision, video recorder with night setting on it. I have a night vision that I use at night when I'm out doing investigations out at cemeteries and stuff. Use a tape recorder. Most people think, well, you got to go out and buy a real expensive tape recorder to do this. Wrong. You don't need an expensive tape recorder. External mic is what you want. If you use one with a built-in mic, you'll pick up the motor from your tape recorder. So we recommend using an external mic. I have a magnetic field detector that I use. I have 2 of them. One measures the level of magnetic field, and another one I have is set at the same level that they run in, that their energy runs in. If they walk in front of it, it will beep and make lots of noise. And then I have what we call the bionic ear. It's great because you can listen to it while taking a tape recording of a person's voice. You can plug it right into your tape recorder and listen to them talk while you're listening to it over your ears. I have a infrared flashlight I use. Works great with a 35mm camera. You take the camera and set it right on top of the flashlight, turn it on, and it's just like day and night. They absorb that light from your infrared, makes them stand out more when you flash. And let's see what else. Some of the other toys that we have, we use dowsing rods. They work great. You hold them in your hand like this, and when they cross like this, that's when you've either got an entity in front of you or has surrounded you, and that's when people start taking photos and they start picking up things on cameras. We use cotton balls. People wonder why cotton balls. If you take a cotton ball, you drop it on the floor. If you got a breeze in there, it'll move the cotton ball. So we use that, and we use baby powder on floors, because sometime an entity will leave footprints. And it's also great if you take a cotton ball and put it on the floor and you sprinkle baby powder around it, you can tell that it's been moved because it's no longer in its circle. We use threads by doorways. That way, in case there's a lot of people say there's activity in there, or if you want to find out if a person is playing a hoax on you, run a piece of string, a piece of thread along the bottom of the door. They won't see it. A dog won't see it, a cat won't see it, and a human won't see it. You go back into that room and you see that string broke, you know somebody else has been in there that's human, because the spirit will not break it. They do not, most spirits don't walk, they float. One of the most weirdest, chilling investigations that I and my wife had been on was out by Spruce Run County Park on Highway 26, headed for Salem. There's an old cemetery there just up the road from the Huckleberry Inn. It sets off the road to where you can't see it. The wife and I and my brother and his wife went there during the daytime. We had a funny feeling there was something wrong there. It's just a feeling that we had come over us. My brother said he wouldn't get out of the rig. He didn't even want to step foot out of it because he could feel a lot of things. And trust me, my brother is one person that is very, very skeptic. But anyway, we went back to the campsite where we were camping at, and went over to ask my brother and his wife if they were going to go back to the cemetery with us. And they said, no, here, you take the car and go. So the wife and I said, all right, no problems, we'll go. So the wife and I, we left. We got over to the old cemetery there, and we got out of my brother's rig. Wife got out on the passenger side, and I got out on the driver's side. She had my night vision. She was kind of scanning the area to make sure there was no wild animals or anything. Of course, there wasn't any. And then she got to looking around with the night vision to see if she could catch an orb or an ectoplasm. And she wouldn't move 2 feet away from the rig. And I turned around and looked at her, and I said, well, what's wrong? And she says, something don't feel right. And I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side of the cemetery. So as I started walking over the knoll, I had this cold hand on the back of my neck telling me, you're not supposed to be in here. You're trespassing upon our domain. Leave, and leave now. And I said, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to destroy anything. I'm just here to take photos because I'm curious, like you are curious why I'm here at night. And all that you could do is just hear this person whispering in my ear saying, leave now. So I turned around and doubled my pace going back towards the car, and I kept telling them, I said, look, we're leaving now, so leave us alone, we're going to make you happy. And it just wouldn't leave, so I just took my camera, whipped it over my shoulder without even looking, and took a photo over my shoulder. I got 3 of the huge blue orbs, one right after another, following us. So we went ahead and got back in the car, and we were driving back down to Spruce Run County Park, to our campsite, and I kept looking at the wife, and the wife, Renee, kept looking at me, and she says, he's not leaving, and I says, yes, he will. So I says, look, we are leaving now. You have proof. We're halfway back. And I no sooner said that, and the feeling was released that person had left. And then that was one of the best ones. That was the most eeriest place we've been. Another one is up at Kinder Cemetery, where there was a few of us up there that was doing investigation, and we kept seeing this man floating back there beside 2 trees. So I told the group of people, I said, look, I'm going to go back there and try to deal with him, and I said, I want one person to follow me, but I want them to be very quiet. So I looked at one of our club members, and I said, you follow me, but give me a few minutes to get halfway over there, then start following me with your camera. He said, okay, I will. I got back there, and I started talking to this person, and I says, look, you think you was dominant when you was alive. You're not dominant now. You think you can hurt me? You go right ahead and try. And next thing you know, I was bit right on the arm right here. And I says, do you really think that hurt? Well, it didn't. So I turned around and walked away. And after I had said that, then his apparition had left. No longer seen him because he found out he couldn't push that hard no more. Spirits can come in different entities. The most common of all is an orb. An orb is like a round ball. What they do is they absorb the flash from your camera. They absorb that energy from that flash. It makes it possible to pick up on film, or even on a digital camera or a video camera or whatever. Then you move on to, because they go through a learning process, the next step they become is an ectoplasm. An ectoplasm is like a cloud formation, and that kind of just explains what it is. A cloud formation is an ectoplasm, and there's no reason for that to be there. No fire, no fog, or anything like that. That is an ectoplasm. A vortex is just exactly what it is. A vortex is actually just like a tornado. That's one way for them to move around. For them to move from their world to our world. Then you have what we call a black hole, where it's black in the middle and real bright around the outside of it. That is another way for them to transport from their world to ours. Then you go on to a partial apparition. Partial apparition is where you can actually see through them. A full apparition, it would be your next one. A full apparition is they look like a person standing there, or a pet, or a person or a pet. Could be a full apparition. It's just like they're there, but yet if you look close enough, you can still see through part of it. That is a full apparition. Then you can also have poltergeists. Poltergeists are usually black. People think because you have a black poltergeist, it is evil. That is not necessarily true. A poltergeist, the only way a poltergeist is evil is what kind of energy you are putting off. If you are in a negative, which we call a negative energy, is like loved ones fighting, arguing constantly all the time. These are the kind of a poltergeist you will attract. By the time you get them in your house, before you know it, it's too late. They're hard to get rid of. But a normal, everyday, dark entity, or black poltergeist, will not do any harm. You can ask them to leave, and they will leave in usually 1 day to a week. If you have anything going on in your house like that, if you ask them to leave, they will leave. Okay, the first one that you will see will be the one with all the orbs in it. They look like round balls, and that exactly is the orb that's absorbing the energy from your flesh. The next one we have will be the ectoplasm. This is a cloud formation. It's like I mentioned earlier, where it looks like a cloud, but there's no smoke, no fog, no nothing. This is a good example of an ectoplasm. The next one we will go to will be the vortex. The vortex is just like I told you, it comes down to a tail. They don't have to be perfectly straight. They can be a vortex and be curved. And the last one that we talked about will be the partial apparition. In this photo, you'll see a partial apparition of a person's face that you can barely make out in it, but it is a partial apparition.
Okay, we're back. You've just seen the video interview with Robert Chamberlain. It was a great interview. He really talked about a lot of good things. He talked about what ectoplasms are versus vortex. He talked about poltergeist, good and bad. Talked about what an orb is. And I think he touched a little bit on EVPs tonight.
Yes.
Sound recordings, and he talked a little bit about the tools of the trade. And I have with me
One of the
this is my tool of the trade, and this is my baby I just got. This is a Kodak DC3200 digital camera, and this is a great tool to have because it's less expensive to use one of these than it is for 35mm camera, because
Yes.
the processing charge, you got to buy your film, and
all you're really paying for here is batteries.
Right, right.
Because believe me, it does use batteries.
right. And this camera right here, you can see it right here. This camera here cost $159 at Walmart. It's a really good camera. It's got three picture settings on it, either good, better, or best. I take most of my pictures on best, or yeah, best.
Best for the absolutely greatest resolution you can get.
Right.
Also highly recommended with digital cameras are the memory cards.
Yes, and I have
It
in
is a
this
must.
camera. This is a
32 meg, I believe.
Yeah, this is a 32 meg memory card. I bought this at the same time that I bought my digital camera. This little card right here is pretty expensive.
Yes.
It'll cost you about $79-80. But it is a wonderful thing to have, because without it I can only store about 15 best pictures
Yes.
in my camera. With this little card right here I can store 100.
It's over 100
Yeah,
on
over
best.
100 on best, and I can pull out about 350 pictures
On good.
good.
So it's as far as a ghost hunting tool, a digital camera with the memory card is indispensable. It's served us both well. Kevin and I have both taken many photographs with that camera.
The only drawback is you need to have a computer
Yes.
at home.
Yes.
You need to have this. By the way, this comes with the software.
Software and the cable to connect it
Right,
to your
the
computer.
software and the cable to connect it. But you want to be able to have a printer that prints photo quality on photo paper. The printer that I have right now, it's a cheap $29.99 thing I bought at Walmart, which I am.
It'll work,
it's
but it's not.
okay,
The
but
quality's not as good
No.
as you'd get.
my stepdad has the ultimate printer for
Yes,
his camera,
which actually prints on photo paper, I
It
believe.
prints on Kodak paper, and it prints top quality photos. But one of the other drawbacks to having a digital versus 35mm is you could get a really fantastic picture. Say you get a full apparition.
Yeah.
Then some people could say, well, you have the software at home on your computer, you
must have
digitally
doctored it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
doctored your thing. So the advantage is to always have a 35mm camera with you when you go out on these shoots. Take one picture with your digital camera, at the same time take a picture with your 35mm. That way you have proof both ways.
You've actually got your image imprinted on film, so
Yeah.
you know that.
Me personally, I don't care, because
you know what you took.
right, I know what I took.
Yeah.
and I'm not doing this for other people. I do this for myself.
It's become a hobby for both of us.
Well, it's become a little more than a
it's
hobby
kind of a
for
morbid
me.
fascination,
Yeah.
but it's we got into it, and I'm hooked.
One of the advantages that I have over Todd right now is that I actually have a ghost that lives in my house with me. His name is George. He's 1 year, 5 months, and 23 days old. He died in 1912. His name is George Reeves Coxon. His body is buried in the Gray Butte, Powell Butte Cemetery out by Alfalfa, Oregon. Todd and I went out there for a shoot one night, and I actually took a picture of George, and he actually told me his name while we were out there, and Then he followed me home, and it's been 4 months now, and he's still living with me. He allows me to take pictures of him. He allows me to see him, but not in his apparitional form. He only lets me see him in my mind, and he'll let me take pictures of him in an orb, in his orb form. But one of these days I'm hoping that he will he'll go to a full apparition for me and let me take a picture of a full apparition of him. But for right now, I told George he can live in my house as long as he wants, and he doesn't bother me, and I don't bother him, and we get along great. What you're looking at in this picture here is the inside of my house. I'm sitting here from my computer desk. I was taking a picture in towards the living room, and I managed to get a picture of George right here. You can see him right down here at the bottom corner, and I can zoom in on him, and you can see him a little better right there. And he comes in. He actually lives here with me, and I get lots of pictures of him. I'll show you some more here. Okay, this is the next shot that I took. Sitting here from my computer desk, taking a picture in towards my living room. And again, here is George still in the same position he was, but yet notice this orb and then a real faint one right here. And I can, let's see, I can get a better picture of these two. See there and right there. And if you want to see George, he's down here. I can get a better picture of him. You can see him, he's still sitting right here, the bottom of the picture. Okay, I'll show you some next picture I took. Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is the next picture I took. I took these all about 3 seconds apart, and again down here in this corner here you can still see George just sitting right there, and he hasn't moved, he's still sitting in the same spot. I took this picture about 4 nights ago, and I was outside, and then on my camera, on the picture on the camera, I could see a spot right here. So what I decided to do is I come down here, and I decided I would brighten the picture up a little bit. Well, that pulled out the spot that I wanted to look at, but it never showed me exactly what it was. So I used the contrast, and I started improving the contrast little by little, more, and you can see that it's a car. Well, as I sat here and I played with this a little more and lightened it up a little bit more, look what jumps out at the top of this picture. You see that? That is ectoplasm. And then look at here, there's an orb here that I couldn't see without changing the contrast on this. This was a picture I took about 4 nights ago. This is out at the side of my building, looking down the side of my building at the fence line. And the only thing you can really make out in this picture is this little green light right here. Okay, until you use a little brightness, brighten the picture up a little bit, and then you use your contrast. You contrast this puppy all the way up, and whoa, look what happened. A van jumps out, and now look at this. You have an orb here and an orb there. Let's see, there you go. Now in this picture here you can see I have an orb there, one right there, one up here, one there, several back here. Another one I took in my living room. You see I have orbs there, there. The night that I took this, I think George decided that he was going to have a party because he invited all of his friends to come over and visit. And you can see them. There's one there, there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, they're just all over. If you can adjust the contrast there a little bit, and probably bring them out a little more. Brightness. There you go. It gives you a better better look at the orbs. There's one here, one down here. They're just flying all around the house. They just came to visit for one night. Nothing strange happened in the house that night. Another one, you can see I have orbs all over the place in here. There's Tanner sitting here. You can see I have an orb there. I have an orb there, there, there. I'll brighten this up for you a little bit and actually get a bit of picture of this. Whoops, a little bit too much. Let's pull it up there. There you go. Get a good picture. You can see the orb here, one here, here. I have light here, down here.
One of the very first video shoots that we did on an investigation, we went with Mr. Chamberlain up to Near City Cemetery, which is just outside of Rainier. And that one can be kind of spooky.
That one is a very spooky cemetery.
I believe Bob caught a few orbs during that shoot.
I got a couple. In fact, I got an ectoplasm out of that one. Very faint ectoplasm, but
Yeah.
I did get one.
And this was, we just kind of did a walkthrough. This is the first time that we had done an investigation with Bob.
With the video camera.
With the video camera.
Yeah, we went out with him many times, but you know, only to learn what we were supposed to do and how we were supposed to do it. And then on this turn, we decided to take the video camera with us. And there's a lot of great footage in here.
Yes.
A lot
Great
of it
dialogue.
A lot of it may be black, and sometimes, you know, the only thing you can hear are voices. But
Bear with us.
Bob goes really in depth in telling us some stories and things that have happened to him and experiences, and he gets really in depth in what he's doing and how we're supposed to do it during this segment.
So it's this is a very educational piece of footage there, and we hope you enjoy it. Joining us tonight is our resident paranormal expert, Mr. Bob Chamberlain. He's joining us tonight here at the, I believe this is Near Road Cemetery.
No, this is Near City Cemetery.
This is Near City Cemetery,
Yes.
Okay. And we're up here tonight, and hopefully we're going to take some pictures and see if we can capture any paranormal activity on film. And if we do, we're going to be bringing our camera along with us to see if anything that's on film we can get on camera too, or on video.
And then document all of our activities ourselves.
So we're going to get started. We're just outside the entrance to the cemetery here, and we're going to get going.
But this is where the cemetery starts.
What's the oldest gravestone here?
The oldest is down over there on the side.
What year?
Date back to 18... I think the oldest one I found it was 1827.
Oh, okay.
And then that was the only one. And the rest are from 1860s on up to 1889s, and then from there it jumps up to the early 1900s and the teens and goes on from there.
Well, with the wind blowing like it is up here tonight, Bob,
Yes.
is that going to affect the ectoplasms?
No, it will not affect the ectoplasm. It will not affect the orbs. And if we're lucky enough, we get a vortex, or if we get an apparition, it will not affect it.
That's good. That's good, because it is...
Turn the light off for a second, Bob. Oh, that's just bizarre.
What's that?
I just seen something right here.
Oh?
Oh, seriously, I'm not kidding.
Okay, let me show you something. Down, where is it? The worst part of the cemetery is over there.
The worst part?
That's the worst part. It's where there's a lot of negative
Oh.
feelings going on over there. And then you get clear over the trees on the other side of this big pine tree over there. There's a row of trees over there that borders this that keeps you from falling off the cliff over there.
Oh yeah.
There's also a negative energy over there.
Okay.
So if you go through those two areas, don't go through them by yourself. Go with another person.
Why is that?
Because negative energy will feed the energy right out of your system.
Okay.
And you'll be stuck there or pass out there because they will zap it.
Interesting. Let's head over that way.
In fact, there's one headstone down here that I would like to show you guys, because when I was up here a year ago, there was a distinctive odor of formaldehyde and rotting coming out of the ground.
Huh.
And it was very distinct because other people could smell it too. But right now you're in the oldest part of this cemetery.
Okay.
And this is where the negative energy is?
It's, see that headstone right there?
Yeah.
Just on the other side of it.
Okay.
And then those trees way over there.
Now, Bob, what, in your opinion, what causes that negative energy?
My opinion is it can be several different things. There could be the people that are here could be causing that kind of an energy, or it could be a mixture of the ground and the atmosphere and all the magnetic waves and microwaves that man has put in the air can cause it. But to me, I think it's more the people that are here. Just creating that energy because they need it.
Interesting. Cemetery.
This is the one I came up here 2 years ago. Robert Livingston, his headstone was pushed over because high school kids came up here and they had keggers going on up here. They vandalized this place, and a group of us got together and came up here and reset all the headstones
Oh wow.
and cleaned it up.
You can usually tell the ones that are maintained and the ones that have been forgotten.
Yeah, like the one out at Trent Home, there is one out there that is completely forgotten.
Yeah.
It is so covered with brush and stuff that I think next year I'm going to get the club together and talk to the city of St. Helens to see about maybe getting people to go out there and help clean it up. Maybe we can talk the recycling center down here to taking all the brush and not charging us anything for it.
Interesting.
But we've traveled to Central Oregon and done things like that, Eastern Oregon. We're also volunteered in to help restoring the cemetery in Virginia City and Gold Hill.
Wow.
But this here is the man right here. You can breathe tonight, so you can't really smell it tonight.
Oh, so this is where you were picking up that
But
formaldehyde smell?
this is where I was picking up formaldehyde smell and a real strong mildew smell, but it ain't mildew. It's more like a rotting of flesh or something like that.
Huh.
But this
I can only imagine what that would be like.
very strong odor, it burns your nose.
Yeah.
But this here, in this section of the cemetery, is most active part of this whole cemetery.
So I guess as we go here, we'll just snap pictures. You two guys seem to have a little bit more of a sixth sense when it comes to these things. I have to kind of go with what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Because well, for one thing, being as cold as it is up here, I'm sure it's hard to pick up on anything that
Well, it
might
is
be
cold
here.
up here too.
Well, they already know we're here.
Yeah.
When we walked into the cemetery up there, I could feel their presence already.
Really?
They know we're here. In fact, actually, there's about 4 or 5 of them listening to us right now of what we're talking.
Cool. I wish one would appear to us.
There's actually 3 women and 1 guy, and I don't know if the other one's a little boy or a little girl.
like I said, I haven't been up here in almost 2 years, and they're curious of what we're doing in here, so it's going to be different to them. And usually when you go into cemeteries like this at night, you don't want to stay no longer than a half an hour, or you'll wear out your welcome.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
So we need to get on with our picture taking if we're going to take them.
I would agree.
So we'll let you lead the way.
Now in some of the shots here on the video camera, I'm using the digital gain, so you'll have to excuse the strobe effect, as that is the only way to get a really good picture on the video camera for sight here. There you can see the one of Bob's many
They'll come off?
visual toys here that
Hang on to this and unscrew the lid.
Oh, I see. Ah, gotta unscrew the lid. There we go. And we're on. It's an interesting toy.
There's a little orb. Not much to speak of.
Did you get something?
I gotta go back and check it as soon as it gets done recharging. There's a little one in that tree back there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little one. Bright little one though. You right there by the tree, Brian?
Uh-huh. Huh.
Bright little one. Those are flowers. That one above it isn't. So there's another one right above it.
Yeah. I see that.
And there's another one right behind us. Whoops. Right behind us.
Now, when you shoot out into the air, is there a certain way that you would do it?
No.
As far as...
Usually if I'm taking a picture in front of me, I'll try to focus on something, have something in the picture to where I can relate with it.
Okay.
But when you're taking it over the shoulder, you're just taking a chance.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll get something in the picture where you can recognize it. When you're doing this, you have to kind of go with your feelings. And when you come out to do things like this, you want to come out with a positive mind, not coming out, well, gee, I think we might get something, or no, we're not going to get nothing. You come out with a positive mind, saying, yes, we are going to get it.
Yeah.
Then your chances are 99% of the time you're going to pick something up.
Huh. I guess it comes down to, you know, they're here, but are you in the right place to capture them?
Right.
I can feel them.
Yeah.
In fact, we still got two of them that are still following us.
Really?
Actually, there's one right here between me and Kevin.
Oh, wow. You snapped that and there was somebody standing right here, Todd. Hey,
What?
Bob, come here. I swear to God, dude.
Really?
I swear. Bob, he snapped that picture and I swear there was somebody standing right here underneath this tree. I swear. And then I snapped my picture again and I couldn't see it.
Okay, a lot of times when you come to the cemeteries, it's kind of like playing a game of hide and seek. They can move any place you want, and you're the one that has to find them. If they're really curious, they'll come to you.
Yeah.
And right now, like me, I haven't been out here for, say, a year and a half.
Right.
Well, I brought two new people out with me, and they're curious. I used to come out here at least 3 times a year, so some of them still kind of remember me. But see, now there's 2 new faces. They're curious.
In July here in 2001, I had an opportunity, my wife and I had an opportunity to go with Bob and his wife Renee down to a ghost hunters conference in Virginia City, Nevada. And I must say, this is by far the place with the most activity that I have ever seen. Some of the photographs that we've captured are absolutely incredible. We visited a basement underneath one of the shops there in town. I believe the shop was called Needful Things. This was in the basement, which used to be the city's morgue, and there is a lot of activity down there. We actually encountered more activity in that basement than we did in any other cemetery I've been in or otherwise. It is also legend that that Julia Boulay, who is a famous prostitute in Virginia City, that she is entombed in a wall down there. The legend goes that the mortician was in love with her, and she was murdered. She actually was a prostitute, but she was a very highly respected woman. Anyone who does research on her will find that out. And the legend says that when she was murdered, the mortician hid her body inside a wall down in that basement, in that morgue. And that somebody else's body was put in her grave. That's the legend. And so when we're down here in this basement, we speak to her, we speak to Julia specifically, and try to get her to show herself or manifest herself to us. And we were amazed at the results that we got. Check it out.
The doorway used to be right here.
Okay.
They want to open this up, and I told them, no, don't do it.
Why you let him out?
It's hard telling what you bring in there. You might create something else to come in here that you don't want. Juliet Boulay and two other guys, this used to be a doorway. This is where they believed to be buried, in the part over there where it burnt down and caved in. They're still believed to be buried over there by some people. But this door right there is usually where you get the figure or kind of a face of Juliet coming out. And this room here is where they used to bring the bodies
From back here.
in and prep them. What they do is they brought them in to the opening up here. At one time there was an opening here. They'd bring them in, they'd be put in this sink, they'd be prepped in this sink,
That sink.
in that sink, and brought out here and wheeled out, be finished up out there.
How'd you know? Did you read this or?
No, Marlene told us all about it, because she did a lot of checking into this place.
It's the same story I heard too.
No, I mean, why would somebody bury somebody in the wall?
Because
Well, originally that wasn't a wall. Originally that led over into the other part of the mortuary. And below this floor here, there is another floor underneath this,
which no longer is.
which no longer is because it's been backfilled in.
And some orbs, yep, right across and the flyer across the street. Oh, man. I'm getting major orbs here. Do you? I am. Man, look at this. It's dancing across the screen. Ooh.
Start snapping, huh?
Yeah, I've seen her.
Look, see up above? See it? See it?
Oh my God.
Julia, if you're here, give us a sign.
Okay, the next segment we're going to show you is one of Todd and I's major screw-ups we did. This was done at Kinder Cemetery. We were in our investigation process of learning how to take pictures, and we were trying to come up with a way that we could use the video camera and the cameras together. And as you'll see in the video, we got two little parts in there that we'll show you, and you can actually see what we thought was an orb going across the bottom of the screen and flying around in front of us. Now, mind you, this orb looks red, and we thought that that we had actually gotten a picture of Mr. Kinder in his orb form, and we thought maybe he was mad. And we took this video and we showed Bob. We had Bob convinced. We were convinced. We were absolutely astonished. We watched it over and over and over again. And then one night, Todd and I were down at the studio, and we were messing around with a video toaster. And I asked Todd, we were looking at this piece of video that we had, and we were stopping it on the frames, you know, when we snapped the picture, because every time we'd snap a picture, the orb would disappear, and we couldn't figure it out, you know. And so I asked Todd, I says, Todd, is there any way you can do a reverse image and show us a negative style image on that frame? And so Todd says, well, yeah, sure. He says, I can do anything. So he actually takes the toaster, and I think we're going to show you that, where we do the reverse image, and we actually can show you what we found. Okay, notice the green light on the camera. On my 35 millimeter camera, the flash indicator right here is red. And that should tell you guys what we actually caught. Okay, what we have is my hand, just like this on the camera, snapping a picture, just like that, and then the light went out. So we learned that we cannot hold our cameras in front of the video camera and move it around, because when you do, the little flashlight looks like an orb floating around. That was awful stupid, wasn't it? Yeah, that video was just something else. Oh yeah, we had ourselves.
How long? 2 weeks we thought we had.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. We were just excited as all could be, and Bob wanted a copy of it, so we made him a copy, and then that night down at the studio we discovered that it was my hand in the camera, and we
can laugh about it now, but back then I was kicking myself.
Oh yeah, both of us
we thought
were.
for sure we had something.
Once we realized what it was, I fell on the floor laughing. I mean, it was Todd. He was just
I was mad.
He was just madder than a wet hen.
That was a stupid mistake.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have made that mistake.
No, we shouldn't have.
But then again, we're learning.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Another thing you also got to watch out for is camera straps.
Yes.
Because if you hold your camera like this and a strap goes down in front of it,
I have made this very same mistake.
Then you get.
I thought I had a vortex one time, and it was the flash reflecting off the strap.
And normally when I go out, I usually have the strap around my hand, out of the way, you know, so then I don't drop my camera, or I'll take the strap completely off so we don't make blunderous mistakes like we just saw.
Yes.
So.
looks like that's going to do it for this first edition of Visions from Beyond. We want to thank Mr. Robert Chamberlain and the members of Northwest Paranormal Investigations for sharing their fantastic photographs with us for our show.
And Northwest Paranormal Investigations, the group, are fantastic people.
Great people to work with.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested in learning how to take pictures of ghosts and do investigations, we'll put Bob's email address up. He's got a homepage, web page you can go to, and,
Yes.
and we'll show you that somewhere right through
Somewhere
here.
in the screen
Right.
there. Bob's email is 7cs@ados.com. And the website, which is great, provides a lot of useful information and more of the fantastic photos that we've shown you tonight.
And on that website, they've actually got pictures of me and Todd in there.
Yes, pictures where we did investigations.
Yeah, mainly out at Kinder Cemetery and the Masonic Cemetery there in St. Helens.
Two of the best ones I've been to, I
Yep.
think. They're
Yep.
probably two of the creepiest ones we've been to.
Yes, Kinder has a special place in my heart because we provoked old man Kinder one night, and he got mad and punched me in the side and left a big bruise on my ribs, and that is the truth too.
Which, if you're listening to Bob's interview there, he tells you about a similar experience he had with Mr. Kinder.
Right.
This is wild stuff, and if you keep an open mind and just if you believe, they're out there.
The biggest thing is you really have to keep an open mind. You can't come out here with the attitude that you're not going to see anything because they don't exist, then you're not going to see anything.
Right.
But if you come out here with the attitude that, okay, I'm going to give this a try, I'm going to see what happens, I'm not going to jump to conclusions, and most of all, keep a very open mind. Because like I say, I was a skeptic before I came out and before I got into this, and through keeping an open mind, I actually have a ghost that lives with me now. And so it's really been quite an experience. Bob has really taught us a lot and probably going to teach us more in the future.
Oh yes. Bob's been doing this for 9 years, as he said in the interview. We've only been in it for a year, and it's a constant learning process.
It is.
But it's a lot of fun. I'm glad we got into it. Like I said, that homepage, definitely worth checking out. www.northwestparanormal.freehomepage.com.
Right.
That's the address to go to. Check out some great pictures, learn some information, and if anyone's interested, get involved. Great group of people, and it's a lot of fun.
Right.
So I think that's going to do it for our first edition of Visions from Beyond. We want to thank Robert Chamberlain and Northwest Paranormal, and you viewers out there for checking us out. We hope you stay tuned for our next show, which at this point it's kind of hard to say when that'll be.
Right.
But we do have it actually on tape. We just need to add a little bit more to it.
Right.
We'll save that. We'll keep that a surprise for you.
Right. And believe me, it's going to be a lot of fun, our next video that we have planned, and I think you guys will really enjoy it.
I know I will. Actually, we did.
Actually, I did enjoy it. We've already done it, but
so we'll have lots more great photographs and just have a good time. So until next time, keep an open mind.
very open mind.
They're out there, and we're going to do our best to bring them to you.
Yep.
So, for Nowhere Videos, Visions from Beyond, I'm Todd Hilton.
And I'm Kevin Thornton.
Good night.
Good night.